Alright, Brad's car is running and driving. That one right there. So we're going to be taking it back to his house. Didn't really go over too much of the build while doing it, so I'll just kind of do a little rundown here. First time ever working on a 240. Well, not first time, but like first time doing this much work on a 240, so learned a lot as I went along. Basically what we have is he got a pretty cheap car with a locked up single cam, and he bought a questionable dual cam and got sponsored by Twisted Motion out of Nevada for the turbo kit. And over the last pretty much 2 months or so, I guess, I don't even remember how long it was, we've been putting this thing together, and this is what we've ended up with. We did a compression test on the motor after we had it running, because we did a compression test before and it didn't look good, but we went ahead and put it in there anyway. Let it run for a little bit and then did a compression test. He's got 180, between 180 and 185 on every cylinder all the way across, so this thing should be great. Miata battery, because you have to cut the battery tray for the intercooler piping. It's got the SR20 radiator, intercooler on the front there. Had to rig up the fuel pump, so got a 15 amp fuse on the fuel pump, and then rig up the fan, 10 amp fuse on the fan. It's a pretty small fan, and toggle switches in the car for those. Car's got teen coilovers with dampening adjustment. Pretty cool. There's the fuel pump switch right there. Here's the fan switch. We haven't finalized it yet. Need to get eyelets for it and also cut it into the panel, but that runs the fan. Ran into a little bit of an issue with the ECU not getting power. After about a day of scratching my head on that one, going online and eventually figured it out. Basically, the EGI relay, this guy here, was not powering the ECU. So this is the power for the ECU. Under this relay, what we did, and a lot of people do, is you just put a jumper between pins 3 and 5. Yeah, between 3 and 5. It says it right here. You can see the little door on that is the switched one, and the little coil on there means that's the one that actually gets power to energize to make that one close the circuit. So you just jump that so it's always closed. So 3 and 5. So the ECU is always getting power, but it doesn't use very much power, and we've let the car sit for 3 or 4 days with the ECU having power all the time, and there hasn't been any issues at all. It's not killing the battery or anything. But yeah, so far he's just running it on an FMU with a stock ECU, and he is getting an RS Empathy ECU, and we'll be throwing that RS Empathy ECU in there to make the car safe, and he'll probably end up getting bigger injectors and a bigger MAF as well for that. So far all we've done is just drive the car around the block, and it did fine. Hit a little bit of boost, held up fine, wasn't breaking up. So once he gets that ECU, he's just gonna be able to rip on this thing all day, up until the transmission breaks, because we know these transmissions are not very strong. Power steering sounds a little rough, but it works, so who cares what it sounds like? Run until it breaks. Besides that, oh, we also put brake lines on it and bled the brakes last night. The gear oil in the transmission is probably pretty low, because when we had this transmission out, it fell over and leaked out a bunch of gear oil. So it was old gear oil anyway. Not a huge deal, but we haven't put gear oil in it yet. So I'm going to probably put this part in the video just really to remind myself and probably to remind Brad that, hey, go ahead and do a gear oil change on that transmission. Make sure it's top notch before you take it on the track. Just driving around the streets a little bit is not going to be an issue, but you don't want the parts in the transmission getting too hot. So once you do that, you're going to start wearing them out very quickly. Go ahead and make sure you do the gear oil change. I think that's it. So we're going to go ahead and load this thing up on the trailer. Next time next time you see me, I'm going to go ahead and probably just be talking to you on the road. There's no real reason to show you loading up the car. We've got plenty of footage of that with other cars. So while I'm taking the car back to Brad's house, I'm going to go ahead and test out. I got a little microphone, clip-on microphone for the GoPro. So I'm going to go ahead and test that out and see how it works. Hopefully it takes away some of the noise in the truck. The truck's pretty loud, so I'm going to have to cut a hole in the side of the GoPro case. And then the nice thing about that is once there's a hole in the side of the GoPro case, I should be able to also plug in the charger for the GoPro. While using it, it could be charging, so it should be pretty useful, especially since for some reason this GoPro seems to never want to charge, and I had it plugged in for 2 or 3 days into the computer and I still only have 1 bar, and I've used it for 7 minutes, so not very good. See how it fits. Hopefully it fits well. That looks much better. Alright, got the dog with me for a little cruise. Brought the water bottle and got a little water bowl for him. It's kind of a warm day, so I want to make sure I have enough water for him. An hour and 9 minutes left until we get to Brad's house and drop the car off, and hopefully he can get the car together, completely done, 100% done, ready to rock as soon as possible, because the sooner he gets it together, the sooner I'll be drifting at a private track with him. And he wants nothing but to be at the window, so just holding his collar the whole time while he sticks his head out the window. I don't trust him otherwise. I feel like he would see a bird or something and just jump right out the window. 50 mile an hour, 60 mile an hour, he doesn't care. We're in Brad's neighborhood. Just actually came right up behind Brad because he's meeting me at his house. So he's actually directly right in front of me. It's pretty funny. He didn't even notice. I messaged him on Facebook like, hi. And as we were going around the turn, he wound the window down and smiled and waved. So we'll be there in like 10 seconds. It's warm, so warm out today. Let's see how the camera does with pulling the mic out. Damn, Queso, just jumping out of the truck. Hey, what are you eating? Already eating something.
Queso, there's no poop back here, I'm gonna let you know that.
There could be bunny poop.
I have a bunny inside, so maybe.
There's no holes in your fence or anything? It's like millimeters. Light them up. Go, you're good. Okay, go. Open dip life. Sounds mean, dude. Yeah, just the way it was cocked, like the back wheel was coming off the ground a little bit, I guess. So sitting down on it gave it just a little bit more grip. Now to get it welded, so that's not a problem. Yeah. Don't forget you need a battery tie down. Also, don't forget about the gear oil and the transmission. Do an oil change. All right, drop the car off, said bye to Brad. Now we're heading home. So, probably not gonna film much on the drive back, but I'll see y'all later.